Hey y'all, happy Sunday and welcome to this week's live Q&A session. This is the portion of the show where we allow YouTube to send out notifications that we're going live. If you're watching this live Q&A on replay, please scrub ahead until this graphic disappears and the actual show begins. If you're watching live and you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and put them in the live chat. But for now, grab a beverage, sit back, and relax while the countdown timer does its thing. Then we'll get started. Hey y'all, happy Sunday. Hope everybody is doing well. Things are motivating along right here. Today is day 130 of the Great Shingles debacle. Yep, 130 days since April 24th when I first came down with it. We're talking about it in the chat. If you are over 50 and you have had chicken pox, get the shingles vaccine. You do not want this. I'm here to tell you. Welcome aboard. If this is your first time here, please note that I have turned on subscribers only mode for the chat, and you must have been subscribed to my channel since yesterday. 24 hours. You must be a subscriber to the channel or you can't participate in the chat. And I'm sorry it came to that, but bots, drive-by spammers, and trolls love to come in and take over live streams, but they ain't getting us unless they subscribe. So, sorry if you can't post your question. Subscribe to my channel, and we can take care of it down the road. Before we go any further, however, I would like to give a shout out and say a happy good afternoon now, since it's official, to my friend Steve over at Harneal Media. Now, some of you know that I've been singing Steve's praises for forever, since I started with Steve, which is basically when I started this journey. If you're even toying with the idea of maybe getting your own website, maybe you want to start a web store where you can offer your products or services to folks without listing them on a third-party site where they're going to take a 30% commission and charge you a listing fee to even put it up on their site, and then advertise your competition off to the side while folks are looking at your products or services. Well, there's no better way to get around that, to avoid it completely, than with your own website. And Steve at Harneal Media is the only person I'll ever refer anybody to. Why? Simply put, he's good. That's all there is to it. He's good. It's 100% personalized service because, unlike other companies, Harneal Media is a small, privately owned, family run, family operated business. In fact, Steve is the business. So when you have a question, have a comment, have a concern, and you get a hold of Harneal Media, you are talking with Steve, not some nameless, faceless person in a call center somewhere. Now, he's very, very competitively priced. And after you've taken advantage of his services, you'll wonder how he does everything he does so cheaply. So do yourself a favor. Seriously, if you're even considering the idea of a website, go over to harnealmedia.com and click on that contact us button and shoot Steve a message. You owe it to yourself, so do yourself a favor. Now, you're going to find a link to Harneal Media down in the description of this live stream and in every video and live stream on my channel. Over 730 videos and live streams strong. And I do that for a reason. And the reason is he's good. Do yourself a favor. Check out Harneal Media. Link in the description box below. Okay. Programming note. There will be no live Q&A next Sunday. There will be no members only live stream next Monday. And the reason for that is my lovely bride, Linda, is going in for back surgery. She is having S1, L5, and L4 fused. Those of you who have had back surgery and had a vertebra fused, you know what that entails. And we've been getting ready for it, moving furniture around and getting rid of furniture and bringing in new furniture, et cetera, to make her recovery more comfortable. So she goes in on Monday the 8th. So Sunday, there will be no live stream just to help prep everybody and get everything, make sure our ducks are in a row, dress right, and quacking in unison. Monday is the surgery, and from there, it's anybody's guess. So that's what will happen next week. Let's see. Where do we go from here? Today is an open Q&A. So, in order to make this work, I need more cues. You can't have a question and answer session without questions. So, if you got questions, put them in the chat and we'll get to them just as quickly as we can. And on that note, let me find it. Um, Mark should consider his intro music to be something to smoke meats to. It is. It would be good music to light the charcoal to. It really would. Okay. Let's start off with Ed Appleton's question. I'm having trouble with finishing. When I use natural, such as Rubio Pure or Watco Natural, not so much. When I use some type of stain, I can't maintain any consistency, especially with end grain. Okay, very common, probably one of the most common finishing questions you're going to find. And that is simply because of the structure of the wood. Wood is made up of various products, I guess you would say, um, to include cellulose. Cellulose absorbs water and oils readily. And the way to think of wood is like a series of straws bound together with um, lignin and carbon and a whole bunch of other uh, substances holding the cellulose together. And that cellulose acts like straws. Now, if you look at wood grain under a microscope from the side, you'll see a bunch of tubes. If you look at it from the end, those tubes become self-evident. Think of that as end grain. You have side grain, you have face grain, then you have end grain. Now, end grain will absorb water and most oils very quickly, whereas face grain and edge grain or side grain absorbs it. It doesn't go as deep because it's being absorbed by all of the other substances that make up the wood, but it's not getting into the ends of those straws. So what you have to do is basically almost plug those straws, plug that end grain so it doesn't absorb really dark. And probably the easiest wood to test this on is oak, because oak is very open grain and very absorbent. If you take a piece of oak and you put stain on the top, on the edge, and then on the end grain, you'll see that, man, that end grain just sucks up that stain like crazy. Now, there's many ways of taking care of that. But they all lead to the same. You basically have to try to plug up the ends of those straws so that stain doesn't wick in there as deeply and as rapidly. Some people will use a sanding sealer. They'll brush a sanding sealer over the end grain. then sand it nice and smooth. Others will use a just shellac, or there are various wood conditioners on the market that you can get at your local Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, or even on Amazon, that even out the coverage of stain. Minwax makes a wood conditioner that works twofold. Number one, when brushed on end grain, it kind of plugs up those straws on that end grain, but it will also help you even out stains on the surface of the face grain or the edge grain. If you've ever stained pine or poplar or some maples, you'll see how the stain comes out blotchy because it's absorbed in some areas a lot faster than it's absorbed in other areas. And it's just the unevenness of the density of the wood. Maple's a prime example of that because, I mean, I have just running the CNC, if you listen to your bit, listen to the process, I've noticed different densities in maple just in within 12 inches of the same cut, where the bit is kind of starting to scream a little bit, then it'll stop. Then it'll start again and then kind of go around a corner and change the sound. Wood has varying densities. Also, the way it's been milled, if the grain is kind of oriented upwards so that you've exposed the ends of those straws, um, it'll absorb stain a lot deeper and a lot more. And then when you step back and look at it, you've got big blotchy areas. Well, those wood conditioners will help alleviate that, as well as help prevent the stain from being absorbed so deeply into end grain. Won't cure it completely, but it will help. Now, there's a caveat to this. Do a little bit of practice on some scrap if you have it, even if it's just a small piece, because if you want the stain to darken the wood substantially, say you've got a piece of oak and you want it nice and dark, if you use a wood conditioner or a shellac or a sealer of some sorts, sometimes it can prevent that stain from being absorbed deeply at all. In which case, I tend to use a toner spray, which is basically a tinted clear, which you have to mix up and spray with airless, or not airless, excuse me, HVLP gun or something like that. Stains can be mixed into clear coats to add a color to the top, but that's you getting pretty advanced there. But overall, in general, you've got to seal those tubes, those straws on the end grain, so it doesn't wick right in, which is the same thing that we're doing when we V-carve something and we're going to paint or put epoxy in that V-carving. That's common practice to either shoot some polyurethane in there or maybe some shellac or even clear epoxy into that so that it plugs up those straws. Because again, anytime a bit plunges into the material, you're creating end grain. So if you V-carve something and then leave it untreated and then go in and paint that V-carve or pour epoxy into that V-carve, the tendency is for that end grain to suck that up, and that causes bleeding. So you see a nice, V carved piece, and it's painted blue, and then there's little blue lines leading out of it. That's what's causing that. So in much the same way as you would seal that V carving with a clear of whatever you're going to use. You would seal it, the end grain, if you're going to stain a piece, in much the same way. Just know that it does affect the color. So try it on scrap. Okay. Try it on scrap before you commit to cutting into a $200 piece of wood or more. So I hope that helps with that. But it's extremely common, probably the most common finishing question there is. So just know you're not alone in the fight. um, okay. Woodcutter wants to know, how do you enter a single millimeter bit to, I'm assuming he means carve, that has imperial other bits in the carve? The software will make the correction. If you have one metric bit that you're going to use uh, in a carve, and I've done this myself, if you recall back to the pirate, that my epoxy inlay of the pirate, all of the V carving done was done with a 6 millimeter 15-degree V bit, and all of the clearance passes were done with 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch end mills. So you just add the bit, and the machine knows to make all the corrections. Okay. So if you're doing a profile toolpath and you have a 6 millimeter bit, you just go into your profile toolpath, select the 6 millimeter bit, calculate the toolpath, and go. The machine doesn't care. The software doesn't care. It will make all those adjustments. So I hope that answered that. And if that was not the question you were asking, please clarify. Please do throw uh, some additional comments in there. Okay. Wade Custance wants to know, on VCarve photos, what would be the best way to seal them when you're done? Just spray them with varnish? It depends on what you're doing, and what you're carving into. Generally speaking, if you're painting the photo V carve, if you're painting it and then sanding back, if the material is, let's say, MDF, it's up to you. It's up to you whether you leave that MDF natural, or if you paint it, or if you decide to put a stain on or something like that. It's 100% up to you. Personally, I would just shoot it with a top coat, a clear coat that would not interfere with the paint that you're using. Um, be careful if you're using a lacquer top coat. Be careful with acrylic paints. A lot of times, acrylics and lacquers just don't mix. It will cause that paint to wrinkle, and then you've got a mess on your hands. So it's going to depend on the paint that you use in that photo V carve. Um, Shellac, generally speaking, is an inert sealer. So you're fairly safe using a blonde shellac, and then you can top coat with lacquer or um, polyurethane or what have you. One thing I would do is I would check with the paint manufacturer and see if it's compatible with polyurethane sprayed over the top. But as long as you're sure that the paint you use in the photo V carve and the top coat that you're going to spray are compatible with one another, spray, brush, roller, whatever you're going to do, as long as they're compatible, you're good. You're good, and that goes through for polyurethane, shellac, lacquer, whatever you decide to do. So, great question. And Maurice has an additional bit on this on the staining of woods. You combine all grains when you carve. It's always darker and looks different from the normal flat grain. Absolutely. And to go further than that, you need to consider the grain when you start finishing if you're going to use a stain. For instance, if you have uh, quilted maple or you have a burl wood, you have grains going in all kinds of different directions at the same time. On something like that, I think most woodworkers would consider it to be criminal to stain that. But if you do, because when we're working with clients, a lot of times it's not what we like, it's what the client wants. All right. So if they've got quilted maple and they want it stained with a pecan or a provincial stain, and you got to do it, um, take care because, and I would use a wood conditioner because with grain going in different directions all at the same time, it could quickly become a mess. Then you're hosed. So, yeah, um, be careful is all I'll say on that. And get some experience under your belt finishing before you do that. Otherwise, whew, yeah. Maurice at Erickson Design and Woodworking using poplar is the vein. I think you mean bane of your existence. It hates me. It hates everybody. Poplar hates everybody. I get a lot of backlash on this, but I hate poplar with a passion. And this goes back to my furniture making days. In a shop, we used to make these little poplar shaker tables. They were shaker design tables. We made them out of poplar, and then they were primed in white. And then we had a local artist who bought these things. We made pairs of them, and he bought them by the dozens. And then he would do a faux marble painting for the top, and then he would paint the base, the frames, the drawer front. They had one little single drawer in it, tapered legs, and he would paint vines crawling up the legs and flowers and things like that. He did beautiful work. He did gorgeous work. But I hated working with poplar. It's way too soft. Way too soft. It doesn't hold hardware worth a ding dong. And it was an absolute nightmare to work with. And then when you got it done and you're taking it down off of one of the work stands and bring it over to put it at the end of the line into the shipping department, and you whack a leg on a workbench or something like that, now you got to go back and look at it. Nah, crap, it dented it. So now I got to try to steam out that dent. And oh my God, it was the bane of my existence as well. I know Bill Stoffer, you loves your poplar. And if you can get good results out of it, good on you. Good on you. Oh man. Oz, you are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Much appreciated. Totally unnecessary, but thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. Let's see here. Okay, Funweo wants to know, how do I know how far a V-bit cuts the different widths before requiring a flat depth so that I have a nice V shape throughout my cut? You know, there is probably an easy formula to follow. There is probably a mathematical equation that could be used to figure this out. I don't know what that equation is. I don't know what that formula is. Um, um, but a good friend of this channel who has passed away, unfortunately, Mr. Rob Schuster, he posted a chart a few years ago on his website that shows exactly that, what the different cut depths of a V-bit are at a certain width. And he had put it up on his website. Now, as I said, Rob passed away. It's been a couple of years now. I don't know if his website is still up. If it is, I will go find it and I will put a link in the description. Okay. If it's not, I will contact his family and see if it's okay if I post that chart on my website. I won't do it without his family's permission. So in lieu of anything else, Funwayo, what I do is I just preview it. If I'm using a 60-degree V-bit, for example, I'll preview it. And then down in the um, list, the toolpath list, after you get that toolpath calculated, put your cursor over the title of that toolpath and just let it sit there. A little bubble's going to pop up and tell you how deep that cut is. That's the maximum depth in that toolpath. So that will tell you how deep that particular bit's going to cut. Then I'll go try a 90-degree V-bit and see the same thing. Then I'll go try a 30-degree V-bit and see the same thing. So just looking at it and keeping track of those depths, that'll help you out. For the lack of a better description, just try it. Excuse me. It's rather smoky here. We have some wildfires burning way, way away from us, around us, but the weather has turned and Um, Dwayne Withick says, I think you have it in the members section of your website. I do have it in the members only page of my website, but I had Rob's specific permission to do that. And even though I had permission to do that, I never got permission to make it public. And I don't want to take away from Rob's work. So I'll reach out to his family and see if they're okay with me making it public. So I have too much respect for that man to do something like that. So Butch Miller says, I believe Kyle has it as well. That's Kyle Ely over at what is it? Learn Your CNC, I believe it is. And on that note, let me just say, I've talked to Kyle. We BS every once in a while. It's been a while. I need to reach out to him behind the scenes, that is. And Kyle's a good guy. Kyle is a good man. He runs a tidy little business over there. Um, in fact, but he's a lot more concise than I am, and he's a lot more upfront. You know, tab A into slot B, kind of a guy. He runs courses. He has various levels of courses, and I would highly suggest that if you want a good course on learning Vectric software along with your CNC router, I highly recommend his courses. He's a very good guy. He and I are not in competition. We augment one another. And what the joke, the internet joke has become is if you want to learn how to do something, you go to Kyle. If you want to learn why you do it that way, you come to me, because he'll do a 10-minute video on a topic and it'll take me 30 minutes to explain that entire topic. So I would highly check it out. Okay. Steve says there is a copy of the Schuster table available on Rob Sandstrom's website with permission. Okay. Thank you for that, Steve. I did not know that. I will put, and there's the link right there. So Funwayo, there's your answer right there. I will put that link in. I'm writing a note right now to myself. I will put that link in a pinned comment at the top of the comment section of this live stream as soon as we're done. I won't put it in the description because it's, I mean, it gets lost, and a lot of folks don't know to click on that more button and read the entire description. So I'll put it in a pinned comment. Okay. Um, there's your answer, Funwayo. Rob Sandstrom Designs. And thank you to Rob Sandstrom for posting that. I do appreciate it. So, Bill says Kyle has a sale on his courses through Labor Day, 20% off. There you go. Kyle's a good guy, and I 100% support him. Okay. If you want to take one of Kyle's courses, there you go. And I'll put a link to Kyle's site. I'll put a link to his site in that pinned comment as well. I don't think you can go wrong. Several of my channel members have taken Kyle's courses, and universal, I've never heard a bad thing about them. Universally, they all love them. So I do highly recommend him, and I do endorse him. And I endorse Kyle. He's a good guy. He really is. Okay, let's see. I think I have some more questions here in the background. Oh, Marvin Mays has a technical one. How do you make a battle axe with a curved slope from 0 to 3/4 inch in V-carve? That's a good question. Okay. And it's very deep and very technical. My first inclination would be to use a molding tool path. And the way you would do it, okay, first of all, you need another dimension in there, Marvin. We not only we know the curved slope is going to go from 0 to 3/4 inch deep. Okay, that's fine. How long is that slope going to be? All right, that's the other dimension that I need. And then you would use the molding tool path. You would then, the easiest way to do it is create a rectangle, the thickness, in this case 3/4 inch of that slope, and the width or length of that slope. Then you can draw the vector inside of that rectangle, trim off the corners of that rectangle, and there's your slope. One vector at the where you want the slope to start, another vector where you want the slope to end. And then sweep that contour over that. No, you don't need two. Just need one drive rail. Yes. So one vector across the area of the battle axe where you want that slope to start, and then project it out the correct direction. Interesting application, but the molding tool path. I have a video. It is a little bit old, but In that video, I used the molding toolpath to create a radiused fretboard. This would be basically the same thing, just with different dimensions. So I will put a link to that video down in that pinned comment as well. And okay, Marvin says it's going to be 8 inches. All right, so here's what we'll do. We're talking 8 inches by 3/4 of an inch. Let's jump over to V-carve. And I'll draw a rectangle, and you can do this anywhere. It doesn't have to be, well, we'll get to that in just a second. And I'll start a rectangle, but then I'm going to come in and I'm going to make the width 8 inches and the height 3/4 of an inch, 0.75, and I'll apply it. Okay? So that's the length of this sweep, and that's the thickness of the material. Okay? Now I'm going to come in and draw a vector, and you can see here by my by the icon, my cursor, that I'm drawing a straight line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that by tapping the letter S, and I'm now drawing a curve. I'll start up here at the top, and I'm going to bring it down here to the bottom corner. All right, hit the space bar, and that's going to finish that line. Now that's a straight slope, but maybe you don't want that to be a straight slope. Maybe you want a bit of a curve here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap the letter N to go into node editing. And now I can grab this control handle, bring it up here a little bit, bring this one up here just a little bit. So I've got that shape there. Tap the letter N to come out of node editing. All right. So now I'm going to take my scissors, then I'm going to go snip, and I'm going to go snip. Now I have, let me undo that. Close. I may need this leg right here. So I'll tap the letter N to go back into node editing, and I'll cut the vector right there. Then I'm going to delete this span. Delete span. There we go. Now I can come out of node editing. That's my shape. Okay. Now I'm going to drag it up here, so it's not on my material at all, getting in the way. So my battle axe is being drawn out here somewhere, and I'm just going to use, I'll do that. Close, then center it, and this is going to be quick and dirty here. Go into node editing. I'm going to smooth that point. I'm going to smooth this point, and I'm going to make the, now I'm going to bring that in. Come on. Bring that in. Bring this in. And this is really, really bad. But you'll get the idea, okay? Shaboom. All right. Now, come out of node editing. That really looks rotten. I know it looks rotten. I'm not an artist, okay? So now, the height here is what I need to be concerned with, because I'm going to have to sweep this edge all the way across and make sure I get that edge all the way across. All right. So I I need a couple of guides here. So I'm going to drag a guide out here, right click, and I'm going to create a new parallel guide relative to this one. And the position of it is going to be minus 8.0. So I want this guideline to be 8 inches back from this edge. Create new guide. All right, terrific. Now I can delete this guide. I no longer need it. This is where I need to draw a vector. So I'll come out here and I'll draw a single vector. And I'm going to make sure this vector is longer than this height right here. So I'll come over here and I'll click, click, close it. So I have that vector. Now I can delete that guy. Okay? I hope you're still following me. This is the shape of my axe. And as you can see, it was made by someone in the Stone Age. This is my drive rail. This is the profile I'm going to drive along that rail. So when we go over here, we're going to select the drive rail first, and we're going to hold down Shift, and we're going to select the profile, and we're going to use the molding toolpath. Now, here is my drive rail. And these little red flags are which direction this shape is going to be carved. Well, it's 100% backwards. We want these lines to be pointing over here, over this. So we'll put my cursor over this vector, right click, and reverse direction. Now we're driving in the correct direction. Here's my drive rail, or excuse me, here's my drive rail. Here's the profile I'm driving. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to look at the toolpath position. Our cut depth is 3/4 of an inch. That's fine. So we have no gap above this toolpath and we have no gap below the toolpath. Now we're going to decide what bit we're going to use. Are we going to use a ball nose and vary the step over? Let's try it and see what happens. Okay. Are we going to use a larger area clearance tool? I probably would. So in this case, just because it's me, I'm going to select an end mill and I'm going to get aggressive. I'm going to use my 1/2 inch end mill to mill away the majority of this material, especially down here. Okay. And am I going to use a machining allowance? I'm going to go with a machining allowance that's equal to the tool's diameter, this tool here, of 0.5. What that's going to do is that's going to remove material a 1/2 inch beyond the length of this carve. Create sharp corners. I got no sharp corners. If you do have sharp corners, you'll want to check that. And let's calculate. And right off the bat, we see we have two profiles, or two swept profiles. Now, the question about the V-bit, when I was talking about putting your cursor over the title, if I put my cursor over this title right here, that bubble pops up and it tells me the maximum depth of this cut is 0.75 inches. It's the third line from the bottom. That's what I was talking about. Hopefully you can see that bubble that pops up. And it'll go away in a minute. This one, same, the maximum depth is negative 0.2 inches. Okay. All right. So we'll preview the clearance first. Hello? Oh, preview that clearance. Let's preview this. My clearance didn't cut. All right. There's that leg. Turns out I don't need that leg. We'll reset the preview. Close this. I'm going to go back to the top. I'm going to go into my 2D view. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go into node editing. Tap the letter N to go into node editing. And I'm going to right click, delete that span. I don't need it. Now, I'll go back into that same tool path. I'm not going to bother with the clearance tool. I'll recalculate it. And now I only have one tool path. I'm not going to bother with that 1/2 inch bit. Now I'll preview that tool path. And there is that curve. There is that radius. Close, 2D view, select this vector, do a profile. 0.75. I'm not going to use a 90-degree V-bit. That's silly. I'll use my 1/2 inch end mill. Select. And I'm going to carve outside the vector. For this demonstration, I'm not going to worry about that. Calculate. And we'll preview that. Get rid of my waste. And there's your edge. Okay. That's how I would do it. Now, let's go up here and let's see how long that's going to take. For me, this swept profile is going to take the longest. It's going to be 1 hour and 54 minutes. And the cutout's going to be 1 minute 17 seconds. That's my machine. Okay. Your mileage will definitely vary. The carve time on this is too high. Well, that may be. The point is, when you're using V-carve, your limits, you are restricted. You are limited in what you can and can't do when it comes to carving something with this type of a contour. We tend to put a lot of emphasis on the length of time something's going to take, but you have to balance your priority. Okay. Is it worth it to you for 1 hour and 54 minute tool path? Only you can answer that. Now you can I think it's a function of the machine allowance and not getting a clearing pass. That may be, Pete. That may be. But you have to decide. Personally, I don't know. I think I would sand that in with a disc sander. That's just me. CNC router is not always the best tool, but that's just me. But with V-Carve Pro, you're very limited, is what I'm getting at. So there are other ways of doing this, but all of them involve 3D modeling. So now there was another question up here. I had real trouble trying to use the molding on a circle this week, trying to curve around the profile and around a pocket in the center. PETA, trying to figure it out, always mixed up. Something to remember about the molding tool path. Okay. Okay, Machined in Wood said my machining allowance was too much. Okay, all right. I'll go back and try it again. Something that needs to be remembered, 8th Center, is that the molding tool path will only carve one way on a closed vector. So you'll have to break that vector up into open vectors to get it to cut. For instance, if you do a circle or a square on a closed vector, it will only project that shape to the outside. So if you're trying to carve something to the inside, you've got to split it up into two vectors. So then it will carve to the inside. All right. John says maybe use the 1/4 inch. Yeah, for demonstration, I will. I'll do that. Let's reset the preview, go back into my swept profile, use a larger error clearance tool, and we'll use 1/4 inch end mill, select, and we'll do a 50 thousandths machine allowance. Oh, I see what it was. Okay, I got that. I got that backwards. I got that backwards. The machining allowance is how much material is going to be left for the finishing toolpath to clean up. I was thinking boundary offset is what I was thinking. So yeah, thank you for clearing that up, guys. I appreciate that. So here's my clearance pass. That makes a lot more sense. So it hogged out that material. All right. Now we can do the swept profile. Swoop. Then we can do the profile. And we get the same result, but you see what I'm talking about. All right. So yeah, that did work better. And that is a sorry looking excuse for an axe. What can I say? So, 8 Center says that might have helped. In the end, I offset to the inside and guessed stuff till it looked okay. Yeah, you know what? I do that a lot. I do that a lot. Let's see here. Dwayne says, I would use the curved vector for the drive rail and add the tail up on the lower end of the profile. Yeah, that was a down and dirty, quick and easy, just showing you need a drive rail for the molding toolpath. It doesn't have to be a straight line. It can be curved. It can be a copy of the vector that we're using for that shape, so he gets the same profile all the way around. But, boom. Marvin's asking, how do I put it on both sides? Same way I just showed you. You'll just use two drive rails, and you'll select one to do to that side. You'll select the other to do that side. So you're creating two drive rails. You can use the same profile, but what I would do is I would mirror that profile. So two separate profiles, two separate drive rails. Do one, then do the other until you get used to it. Once you get used to it, you can do more complex to where you've got one tool path that carves both sides simultaneously. So Nature's Live Edge says two-sided project might be easier. Okay, well, yeah, when you both sides of the wood two-sided, good point. Is this a two-sided job where you want that to come to the sharp point? In which case you would just copy those vectors to the other side and create a toolpath the same way I just showed you. So I thought you meant like a broad axe where you had the same shape on both sides of the handle, not one here and one there. So, all right, let's see. Do I have other questions up here that I missed? Now I'm going to go up this way and come back. Let's see here. Yeah, that was just, again, that was just a quick and dirty um, demonstration on the basic use of the molding toolpath. I go into much, much, much more depth in the video. And again, I'll put a video to my molding toolpath. I'll put a link to my molding toolpath video in a pinned comment as soon as we're finished here with the live stream. Let's see here. And Steve has already posted the link in the chat. Thank you for that, Steve. I mean, Steve is right on the spot. Right on. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, man. So, Steve is the guy. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. Um, Ellen, if you're going to be this late, you could call. Just saying. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. Pete, you have absolutely no idea. You really have absolutely no idea. I mean, a lot of it is just knowing the guy is there and just knowing that it's covered. And I'm not just talking about, being moderator here in my live streams. I'm talking about back in the background. There is so much being taken care of on my website that I just don't have to worry about. He's automated a lot of things and he doesn't have to worry about it. And he's one of those friends. You know the kind I'm talking about, Pete. He's one of those friends, and I'm proud to say that. So, okay, I am not seeing any more questions. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Uh, I've still got a few things to take care of before the day. Again, um, Pete has a question. Thank you. Whoops, there it is. Do you have a video on the steps to moving vCarve to a new PC to include the Windows fonts? Ooh, great topic, Pete. The short answer is no. Um, the long answer is no, but I should, damn it. Pete, you did it to me again. That's an excellent topic to get into. Um, um, Excellent topic. We'll get into it in a members only live first, just so I can run things past y'all and get your input on the way you have done it. But we'll do it on a members only first, and then I'll do a video on it. Okay. Great topic. You guys keep that up, please. Keep that up. Hey, Center wants to know, how do you keep the toolpath window pinned opening after closing? Okay. When you look up here, we've got the pin. All right. And the pin is straight up and down. If I come over here to the design tab, click on it, the pin is laying sideways. Now, if I want to leave both of these open all the time like this, I just click on that little pin until it's straight up and down. All right. Now let me show you something else, 8 Center. If you come up here to Edit, come down to Options. Right here, very top, Window Layout, Save Tab Layout. This is a menu. You can click on the arrow here. You have yes or no. If you have yes selected and click Apply, then OK. Now, when I close vCarve, no, I don't want to save any changes. Now, when I open a new session of VCarve and I create a new file, it didn't remember. Oh, yes, I'm in job setup. Okay. Both of my tabs are open. So once I get once I create the new file and get through job setup, both of my tabs stay open all the time. Okay. So you can go back and forth with no issues. Doesn't matter if you're in the 2D view or the 3D view. Both of these tabs will stay open full time. Personally, I prefer to have this area out here as big as possible when I am designing. So I don't do this. I click auto hide. So I've got one side open, my drawing tab first, because that's the way I'm gonna operate. All right. Uh, Thank you, sir. I'm sitting here pointing out stuff, and I'm not sharing the screen. See, this is why I need you guys. Okay, let's try that again, rabbit. Okay, I've got my design tab. This pin right here, standing straight up. That means that's pinned open. I come over here to my toolpaths tab. This pin is laying on its side. You'll see it says auto hide. I can click on that pin so it's standing up as well. And now I have both of them. Okay. Now, when I come up here to edit, come down to options, right here at the very top, save tab layout. This is a menu. I can click on the arrow and I can select yes or no. I select yes, click apply, then OK. Now, when I shut down VCarve, nope, don't want to save any changes. Let it sit and click on a new instance of VCarve and it'll open like this. Now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new file. It puts me into job setup. I figure out how I want that file set up. I click OK. Now both tabs are open from the start. All right. You can set it up to do that and it'll remember it, but you have to tell it that's what you want to do. Now, I prefer not to. I prefer to, sorry. Rich, I hope you'll be there tomorrow because we're going to work on your question. Sorry, back to our show. I prefer to have this out here bigger than this. So I auto hide toolpaths, and while I'm designing, I'm out here. That way, everything I've got as big an area as I can get. Okay. Back to the center. Now you can also auto hide both so that you are working with this full screen. But you have to do this every time you want to change tools. So personally, I leave it pinned. Now, because I made a change in my tab layout, I need to close VCarve, then open it again to make sure that tab layout was saved. Create a new file. Okay. And my tab layout was saved. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to sit here looking this way and talk. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I got a bunch of people. You're not sharing. You're not sharing. And yeah, it's. I know the option is somewhere in the prefs, but in my best Scottish, I cannot find it, Captain. You cannot change the laws of physics. All right. And along with Rich Bratcher's say drive by, hi and bye. Yes, he will be here tomorrow. Um, let me that because tomorrow, channel members, on the members only live stream, Rich asked a question last week about how to import an STL file and then create raised text that could be carved as part of that 3D model in VCarve Pro. And we're going to get into that, and I'm going to show how to do that. That's tomorrow evening, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern on the members only side. Check the membership tab on my YouTube channel, and you'll see the post when I post the link is posted. It's there. Okay. Well, yeah, but in reality, the laws of physics simply aren't well understood yet. Spoken like a man who has been on the ocean. All right. And I say that because when you're out on the ocean, laws of physics do what the hell they want to do. And we're just kind of along for the ride. Let's see. There were a couple of other questions up here that I did not get to that came in right at the last minute. David Hittenberger, I keep getting flash with my profile cuts. Now, let me ask you a question about that. Are you using a ball nose bit for those profile cuts? Because that will leave the radius of the bit. If you're using a flat end mill to do your profile cuts, cut a little bit deeper. Cut a little bit deeper, and that will clean that up. Now, also describe the flash a little bit better, if you wouldn't mind, please. Let's see. I think I got those last minute questions here. Let's see. Okay, Pete says I have to upgrade my PC with Windows not being supported after October. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, a lot of us are facing that. For instance, I've got to get a new computer for this, and I haven't. I haven't decided what kind of a computer I'm going to get for out here, because support for Windows 10 ends in October. That's next month. Jiminy Christmas. I better hurry up and decide. And this is Windows 10. And I don't want to go online with a unprotected computer. Let's see here. Okay, the flash extends up. Is this after a 3D carve? Ellen is asking, what the heck is flash? Okay, let's take what's the best way to describe it? Let's take something that's made of plastic, all right? If it's been injection molded or something like that, you've got a seam that runs around the center along the edges where two pieces where you can see the two pieces of the mold is there. You've got that little bit of extra material on a seam. See, do I have anything with flash on it here? Of course I don't. Damn it, some of these manufacturers are getting too good at manufacturing. I'm not finding anything here handy that has flash on it. Anyway, that little area where it looks like two halves of the mold came together, you've got a line, that seam. Flash is that itty bitty bit of plastic that sticks out of that seam. Usually it's cleaned up with sanding. So on a 3D carve, the reason you're getting a little bit of flash is, let me bring this up before I start talking about it. Boink. Go over here. Is because in your finishing toolpath, you want to use a boundary offset that's equal to the diameter of your bit. So in this case, the boundary offset would be 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. Okay. What that does is that causes the bit to travel past that boundary just a little bit by that distance. So you've got a vector out here that you're using, your selected vector for the sake of argument. You're carving to that vector, and that vector is also your profile that you're going to use to cut out. Use a boundary offset equal to the largest bit. So if you have a 1/4 inch ball nose up here, or your 1/8 inch is the largest and you have a 1/16 inch ball nose down here, use a boundary offset that's equal to it, so that what will happen is on your finishing toolpath, the bit will go beyond that vector by 1/8 of an inch, and that'll trim away all that flash before it has a chance to form. Then when you come and do your profile, you'll get a nice clean cut. So use a boundary offset equal to the diameter of the largest bit in your finishing toolpath. Okay. Let's see. I use my thingy-mabobber. Okay. That is a technical term right up there with what you call it and flooby-dooby. But you got to remember, is it a left-handed or a right-handed thingamabobber? Because there is a difference. It's subtle, but it's there. Saw a guy last night on a stream say he was still running Windows 7. My podcast partner was running Windows 7 until just a few months ago when his computer finally started acting up, and he got a Windows 10 computer. So up until I got the Avid, this computer that runs the Avid is running Windows 10. It will not and cannot go online, either Wi-Fi or plug-in. If I hardwire it in, it can't go online. Not possible. That's going to stay running Windows 10 until it dies. Not an issue. I've got 2 other Windows 10 computers that are in reserve for this. But up until I got the Avid almost 3 years ago, I was running Windows XP. It is not on a network. It is a dumb terminal, basically. The only way to put files on it is with the magic thumb of thumb drives. That's the only way to transfer any kind of a file onto that computer. So, and that's how I want it. That computer's sole reason for existence is to run that CNC router, and that's all it does. So there are no card games on it. There's no web browsers on it. There's no antivirus software in it. Nothing. You Mac people are hilarious sometimes, but not throwing shade, just saying it's different. That's all. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I will get these links to Rob Schuster's chart, Kyle Ely's channel, or website rather, for CNC courses. I will also link my video on the molding toolpath. All that tomorrow, or excuse me, all that as soon as we're done in a pinned in a pinned comment down in the comment sections of this live stream. So you will have to come back. Sorry, but that's the way it is. Again, channel members, tomorrow, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, we're going to get into some creative uses of levels and the level clipping in VCarve Pro to create 3D shapes. It promises to be a good time, and I hope you'll find it worth it. For everybody else, again, there will be no live Q&A next Sunday. There will be no members only live stream next Monday. I hope to be back on, let's see, that will be September 14th for the live Q&A, Sunday live Q&A, and Monday, September 15th for the members only live stream. Talked about the members only live stream a lot today. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or if you want some information on becoming a channel member so you can take part in this members only live stream, right down below this video panel, you'll see you'll see the word join. I think it's next to the subscribe button, but YouTube moves stuffs around. I never know where it is. You'll see the word join. Click on that join link. You're not joining anything. You're just getting info. You're not committed to nothing. The panel will pop up and the videos will play. It's going to tell you all about channel membership. We have a great group of people that join us every Monday evening. We have the super secret Facebook group. We have the super secret live chat. We have the Saturday night live BS Zoom call that we do. And there's other benefits as well, but mainly it's the people. I'm proud to say this is literally the best group of people I've ever been blessed to meet. And I wouldn't trade you guys for the world. So until the 14th and 15th, y'all take care. Have a good one. Yeah. Thank you for your well wishes. Now pray for Mark. He has to do dishes and laundry for the next 3 months. Dishes, laundry, and cooking. Yeah. So, she's kind of stuck in her brand new recliner. Anyway, that's fine. Y'all take care. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. Thank you for the well wishes. Thank you, Oz, for the super chat. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Y'all take care.